maybe going out early on in this tournament.
It was tough to say when it comes to like seeding and how this all works out, because I mean you're going with Sprout, Anonymous. I mean there's a few teams right now where it's really kind of hard to place them, at least in the bottom part of the bracket, because it feels like they would all be kind of even. But one thing I have to give credit to Sprout for, in terms of scrims and prac and all that, fine, maybe they don't have enough time for it. But these guys are savages. They don't stop. I think they've played like 150 official matches already in 4 months. Whereas, the runner-up in Tier 1 have played like 60, and they're saying, oh, it's too much, guys. We're working too hard. These guys are like, dude, come at me. They don't have time to scrim because they're playing officials nonstop.
They're on the grind.
They are on the grind. That's what it means to be in Tier 2 CS right now, is that you just never get a break. You always have to be on. And so today, we'll see if they're capable of giving us an upset.
Yeah, they're taking it on the grind to a whole new level. And I think the question that we kind of had with Sprout is seeing Deher and Snatchy departing the team, because they were always the players that, we were talking about being the raw firepower coming into it. So do you feel like Slax and Crazy could be living up to those expectations?
I think it's a really tough expectation of Sprout in general to be able to perform at this level, especially when we're talking about up against Heroic. And having new players in your roster where you're getting mixed results, and I think they would self-describe themselves as being perhaps underperforming as of recent and dropping maps maybe they shouldn't to teams that are maybe weaker than them. So, I think it's a big question mark for the future of the team, whether or not staying all German is something that's that important to them.
What I think is going to be the main thing here is not so much the firepower in the young guns that are coming in, the new players. I think a lot of pressure is going to be riding on Dennis and Spitty as the older hands in this. I mean, they bring that experience, that veteran aspect to the team. The only issue is that now you're not allowed to have any weak fraggers on a team, especially against a team like Heroic where there are no weaknesses. You literally can't tell them apart in stats. They're just all hitting so hard. You have Dennis, you have Spitty. That's kind of like an old school approach to CS where, okay, maybe the in-game leader or the veterans can frag a little less, and we carried a bit more by these star players. That doesn't really work right now, especially going up against a team like Heroic. So, yes, I want to keep an eye on those new players to the roster and what they bring to the table, but I'm also going to be really paying attention to Dennis and Spitty and hoping that those guys are going to be able to hit shots as well as get the job done.
Yeah, and I think when we're talking about lack of weaknesses, we've got to talk about this map pool, because it's going to be a really tricky one for Sprout coming into this. We were chatting about it before we went live. Where do you see this going in terms of what Sprout could be potentially picking into?
I mean, for Sprout, they've got, the best picks right now are probably like Dust 2, Mirage, and if you look at Heroic's bans, their permaban right now is Dust 2. So they're just not going to allow that to be a possibility. And considering how limited in comparison Sprout's map pool is to Heroic's, you talk about talent and how much skill the Heroic players have, and perhaps having an edge in that sense. Well, the map pool certainly doesn't do Sprout any more favors either.
Well, let's bring up the map veto and see exactly how this series is going to be playing out. We get our sort of expected bans coming through. Do you have any idea of the picks for either of these sides, Semler?
It's, so already, as Lex pointed out, Dust 2 is the only map that really stands out for Sprout where they seem to be comfortable. Unfortunately for them, it's kind of like a MOBA where they just auto-lose. Their strongest pick is just vetoed out immediately, and it's like, well, guess we have to play from behind now. And so you're going to Vertigo, you're going to Nuke, which seems like the next best step for either of these teams, to be fair. That's the really unfortunate thing for Sprout, is that if you match up both of these map performances, all of Sprout's good maps are really good maps for Heroic.
Right.
And so it is just kind of a pick your poison and cross your fingers and hope. So it's looking like we're going to get Vertigo right off the bat here for Sprout.
And that might be like a pocket pick where they think, okay, we've watched Gambit in the past month, dismantle Heroic. And that maybe is like, okay, if I need a blueprint for how to beat Heroic and perhaps be an underdog on a map where you can look to that and say, okay, this stuff works and maybe we can try it in an official, well, you know what, that may be their thinking here going into the map 1.
Hopefully we can bring our second map pick. Nuke, as we were kind of saying, a good pick for both of these teams. So, I mean, it's just going to be so hard for Sprout to really be getting any room in this series so far, at least.
I was kind of hoping, though, outside hope, we were talking about it earlier, outside hope was that they may just try and throw it to a scrim map. Not get too down in the weeds in terms of like a Vertigo or a ramp simulator, as I like to call it. Vertigo. Maybe throw a Mirage, or really just throw a Mirage, or throw an Inferno, and just cross your fingers and hope that you can out-frag Heroic. You catch them on a bad day. It happens. It happens. Now you've chosen to go for Vertigo, and we're going to get Mirage as the last map. So Mirage, that's where it's like, if it really comes down to it, and you can have a god tier performance from one of your players, right? Some act of God comes through and you manage it. That could be it right there, Mirage. I was maybe hoping that they could go a bit earlier, though.
But that's the question. I think, are we even going to be seeing a third map in this series?
Well, I mean, I guess that's where the pocket pick of Vertigo comes from. Is like, if you can squeak through maybe a tight map on Vertigo and push it to a map 3, then maybe you can open up, find some confidence. I mean, coming off of Nuke, if you get a beating from Heroic, I'm sure you're not going to be in the best spirits, but that's, as you stated, little bit of a looser map, something where maybe they can open things up and through an act of God, perhaps make it happen. Who knows?
Well, I think we're about ready to be getting into this game. So it's time to throw it to our wonderful casters in James and Lornas. Take it away, guys.
I think, at least for the first two maps, and maybe a wide open map to finish, with Mirage as the third. But going into Vertigo as the first, is there any chance for Sprout in this series?
I don't know, man. I always think about this like Sprout as like kind of a farm team. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like they're only going to be able to get so far before they just maybe sell a player to a better team or something like that. And it's hard for me to like kind of expect them to win, but at the same time, they get to that level because they get pretty close wins or they get far into the tier 2. But Heroic right now are on that other level. Like them and Gambit, I think they're kind of in this different league. Navi's shown that they can break through that, but like in terms of how stacked they are across the board, all 5 players on Heroic and Gambit, as Semler was mentioning, it's just so hard. Like there's no bottom fraggers, there's no easy sites to go to. Even if you have great strategies, you still have to be able to keep up aim-wise, and it's tough. I want to say there's going to be 3 maps, but I don't feel like it.
Well, let's see what they have to offer us. I think Sprout have got nothing to lose going into this series, so that is something which could play into their favor. They'll start on the T side here on Vertigo. They have intentions towards the A bomb site. You can see Heroic just quietly walking. They'll have plenty of sound cues from Sprout, who are showing plenty of presence, but not quite committing just yet to this A bomb site. And the standard no respect style being led by Cadian may give Heroic some advantages here. Got Refresh trying to delay, it seems. And that will allow his teammates to get into position. All 5 Sprout players here. And it begins. Now, how far do Cadian and Shush commit to this one? They're moving up the side, and there's a lot of CTs on the A-bomb side as well, so Sprout are in trouble. The flashbangs are here as well, and this is a complete massacre on the A-bomb side.
Yeah, that's a suffocation right there. They like get pushed up the short shelf, and you already know it's a bad idea, but they can't go back and clear stuff out because it's a nightmare to clear the flank on Vertigo. So they said, okay, we're just going to push in, and hopefully you get the front site kills. And I think there's actually the option to like kill everybody and actually go to B, since they know there's 2 players coming up the ramp, the B players are gone. So I think from there's actually a chance they could win, but they don't get those kills. And that's the other thing. Rounds like this, they're almost always going to lean towards Heroic because the aim is that you got to give them the bonus when it comes to the aim. And look at this. I mean, Shush is literally jumping through the air, strafing, throwing grenades with this velocity. Trigonometry bitch, as Roku would say.
That's a great phrase.
Yeah.
So we have a Desert Eagle and a P250. Those are the notable weapons in the hands of Sprout.
It's the Dupree angle.
Well, he was probably expecting more from that.
He doesn't play there anymore.
Well, Storn is on the site, and he does have some range with the FAMAS. He's got some support just around the corner if required. Sprout will look to burst onto the site, create some space. Bomb plant, maybe wishful thinking. Down goes Cressy. More opportunity for Sprout to do some damage here. There goes the Deagle, however. Faven's got the P250. Oh, we got 2 Glock kills now in this round. The unlikely heroes. Just trying to dry them out a little more.
Could be worse. This map is it's not a fun place to go. Like it's the highest win rate map for Heroic, even though the low sample size. But the quality of teams Heroic plays, only tier 1 teams basically on Vertigo. So having to go up against Gambit and other teams of this caliber make them so much better for their stats. On top of the fact that and then Heroic pick into it as all of their maps. It's still the best map besides Dust 2. But that's the real big problem. Sprout have 25 maps played on Dust 2, and that's the only map that Heroic want to ban.
Yeah.
So they spent all their time there, and that practice isn't useful.
Yeah, that's an issue in this particular series, and Heroic has better stats on every map, percentage-wise, that both teams are playing. Cressy insta-deleted, leaving Sprout in an early 4 versus 5. Looking for initial map control, he spotted Cadian in AWP. It's a long repeak for him. See Slack's taking the off angle there. That leaves Cadian on 34 HP, so one must be careful. 2 bullets away from Doom now is Cadian.
He threw that smoke so deep that this just allows the push to come through. They're not going to expect this timing. Favin has found an opening wrapping around the short shelf, and he'll almost certainly catch a rotator falling back.
Yeah, they've just...
Oh my God.
Granted, but
Oh,
refreshed. The spatial awareness, real good, and there's Cadian from the other side. Still alive, of course.
I'm so mad for him.
Slacks and Spiddy remain out. They still have the bomb in their hands as they head towards the A bomb site. A minute on the clock. This is still doable. Not having seen the bomb, Heroic will still have 2 players towards B and 2 towards A. So there is a chance for a bomb plant here for Sprout. But first they must find Cadian's angle. Oh boy,
excuse
that
me?
was not expected. Fast shot from Speedy. He's got an angle to plant this bomb now. Refresh can't do much about it. Just holding, looking for Slacks in the meantime. He's been seen now. The elbow is out. He'll have to try and stay alive as the rotation comes in from his teammate. Smoke is up for now. There's the smoke for Slacks as well. He will redeploy, give Sprout some space as they still have a man disadvantage here. And that clock is ticking. All 3 players with defuse gets their shush from the back, and that leaves Speedy with a lot to do. Trying to isolate some fights here while he can. Moving into the smoke, and Heroic are going around the side. That clock is really ticking now as he hides in plain sight, but sprayed by Refresh. And it's 3-0 for Heroic.
I think his butt was sticking out a little bit there. Yeah. Unfortunate. Not much room to play. Heroic play really smart, especially when there's a smoke up. You know, if you wait long enough, the only place to go through the smoke, and then you just watch that angle, and you're all good to go. Man, that position where Favin finds an opening, it was such a smart move, and I really don't think Heroic knew that was that he could have walked through. And if he was feeling a little bit braver, I feel like he could have just walked around to the ramp and just gone ahead and taken the fight right away. But he gave Heroic a little bit of respect, thought, oh man, this is way too easy. And then Refresh came in as a rotator, 3rd rotator to A. How could he expect that? And ended up getting the kill. I think in the future, if he finds an opening like that, he'll maybe take heat and pounce on it. Okay. Flash comes up the ramp. Tessis gets one. Luckily, Dennis is, I think, half blind and can't kill him right away.
Have a look at the radar. You can see Heroic gravitating towards the bottom right of the radar there, towards that A bomb site. That leaves Shush alone towards B. And he may have more to do here as we've got 2 men on road into the B bomb site now, including the bomb itself in the hands of Slacks. Looking for that Deagle shot now. Really patient, but not quite hitting the mark. Eventually he does, but that's an extra second or 2 for the rotation from Heroic. Do you wonder how likely a bomb plot might be now? Dennis has an AK, an M4 rather, in his hands, and he's catching up with Slacks now. Still needs to cross to the side, so there may be casualties, but not where you're expecting. Down goes Cadian.
2 HEs still here for the CTs.
Oh my God, they're taking so much damage here for Heroic. Might not find an angle for this HE now. Storm has to be real careful. Got a trade frag of his teammate. That's got to be the priority here.
Oh, they go for the swing, and even though Stone is low, he has a teammate there behind him to make sure to get the refrag if they needed to, and also they had that HE. Tons of ways, on this attack, lots of layers to it to make sure that they have a chance to win no matter what the circumstance is. And Sprout don't get a bomb plant. That's the most important part of all, but they still have enough money for the full kit of utility, the op in hand, and all of the AKs as well.
So we've got scopes on both sides, 2 AWPs and the Orgon Shush.
That molly, you see how he's like throwing it and then using his downward momentum to launch that molly over the wall without peeking.
Yeah, and you can see how important it is with the angles that were being held. Nice pop flash from Dennis, and there should surely be a... No! Storm! That's outrageous, that transfer. Trade frag was all but guaranteed. Storm, though, had other ideas in that respect. Only gives Heroic a man advantage. That is an overperformance in a very tight spot. I think Slacks... Was he just spotted there by Refresh? I'm not sure. Still plenty of action towards his B bomb site. See if Cressy is trying to run distraction or if there is a more sinister plan towards B here from Sprout. Did see a lurker in mid in Faven as Heroic waits for Sprout to make a play.
Yeah, it's kind of a complicated position here a little bit. They throw a weird smoke on B. They don't know if they're pushed up there. Shush is kind of in 2 places at once. Got the off angle, primed to get traded, but also primed to get one and keep the man advantage in favor of Heroic.
40 seconds on the clock. Refresh has got some sound cues. And that's half the information. Only 2 players remaining for Sprout. Doesn't know yet that it's the bomb, but maybe information he will get pretty soon. There's a Molotov to cut some normal CT angles away, but there's the bomb and the last kill from Storm. 3 plays alive for Heroic, not too shabby in that respect. 5-0, the clean sheet remains.
Yeah, it's just smart positions being played all around throughout the rounds, and Heroic never got caught on that lurk that allows you to run it back to those sites. They were just careful enough. And then there's huge individual plays by Astound. One of the most versatile players in the game. Definitely a player, you know, deep in the top 20 last year and could easily repeat. I think one of the biggest talents to come out of Denmark in the past couple of years. Fantastic player and showing what he can do. One of his signature maps as well, we'll see him probably opping as a hybrid, almost looking like a primary sometimes on the A site.
As we move into round number 6, Faven and Cressy have a combined 0 frags. No, we'll look to change that in the next round at least, if not this one. Of course, it's just the Desert Eagles. I say just, but we see plenty of headshots.
I didn't want to be the bad guy and bring it up.
I'm just stating the facts.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I'm just an observer. I'm like a UN inspector. I've got my flak jacket on. It says CSGO on it.
Global elite.
Again, Sprout is trying to cause a little mayhem, a little bedlam, if you will.
See how this goes. Flashing for himself. Hey, shoot me.
That really looks like some kind of game at the circus or whatever,
Yeah,
you know?
like a skeet shooting, yeah.
Well, Sprout, they're having some impacts. They're keeping the CT economy honest, and indeed it is. You can see they don't have much money, Heroic, so they can't really afford to take too many losses here. If they get wiped out in one round, they're straight into Eco Town. 35 seconds to plant the bomb. You've got 3 Ts towards A now, the remaining 3.
The real problem is there's not much incentive for the CTs to peek down the ramp in situations like this, and then you just don't have nades to get the bomb down. They're already prepping for this. 20 seconds left. It's clear it's you know, likely to be A, and they can't even plant. That smoke's going to come up. CT's ready to push, and they have extra bodies to throw at the problem as well if they want to.
Slacks and Speedy now, just trying to do some damage. I think 1 kill in a bomb plant is already a successful round for Sprout as far as you know, this eco is concerned. Anything other than that is a bonus.
Yeah, that's very true. I mean, they're more concerned about their odds of winning as opposed to, you know, how much economic damage they're maybe doing at this point, because they've just got to put a round on the board themselves. Kills are extremely low, as you mentioned, and that's one problem, but it's all about rounds at this point. Game's already getting away from them. It's what we expect from Heroic, but we also hope to see some kind of, you know, upset or strong half or surprising performance out of Sprout, especially because it's their round 1 match. So, you know, they're going to have a little bit more preparation for this match than they would for any other in the tournament. But it's, again, nowhere easy to go in the veto. All right, round number 7. Defaults once again. And this is maybe the point in the half where Heroic will start to get a little bit looser. Their confidence is probably going to be pretty high. And since they've already got away with so much, they've got to anticipate, well, what's Sprout's next move? Maybe we should try something different.
You can see a second AWP has been collected by Heroic in the hands of Storm now, who's 9 for 1. Refresh is 8 for 0. Again, a great addition to the Heroic squad. I think he's got a very bright career ahead of him.
Ooh, over the nades. Wow. Man, I'm not sure if it worked, but maybe it did enough, you know? The little bit of nade smoke.
JW's done things like that before.
Yeah, that's true.
For his own peaks. So you do wonder. Could be a very sneaky trick there. I feel like they did that on purpose. I'm leaning towards.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dirt peak. Oh boy. Well, that's a painful way to find out about the second AWP. 446 to 448 damage. Getting blasted in the head like that. Could call it overkill.
That's how I'd want to go, though. You know.
Absolutely.
Quick.
Yeah.
Hit scan too. I don't want bullet travel.
Head explosion.
Yeah.
Speedy and Cressy have got 20 seconds to plant the bomb. They do look to pursue this B bomb site.
Oh, this... We boosted up on the box, yeah. This is a fun angle to work with. Okay, and just so much support. Way too easy here, you know, for Heroic. So many players to come in. They've got an op on every site. I mean, they're looking like a chessboard right now. They've got the bishops. They've got everything. Top fragger. It's stalwart defense, and it's very mobile too. It's scary for Sprout because it feels like right now if they give up a little bit of map control, Heroic are just going to come and search it out. They're going to be on the fast flank if they give it up. So Sprout are encouraged to make these decisions early, But some of these early round, bits of utility that Heroic are using, it's hard. You can't really rush on Vertigo as much anymore. Like the pre-nades that CTs are throwing make it so much more difficult to get like up B stairs quickly without running through a smoke that you have to extinguish them all, and then they can watch you. And up the ramp, all the counter flashes, throwing your smoke deep ramp and then flashing the ramp makes it quite hard to do anything quickly. And that means when CTs get their economy on their feet and they're forced to play that slow, grindy round, this is where Heroic have even more of an advantage, right? Because there's less RNG for them, basically, and they've got more reps at this level.
I'm curious how much Kevlar Refresh has left, considering he hasn't died. 86, so he's remembering to replenish it when necessary.
Or he's not taking much damage.
Yeah, because he could just run out of armor, of course. Just taking damage in all these rounds. And then find himself a little naked. Well, there's his first death. That's definitely cast a curse. Dennis looking for a third. They have to capitalize on this. They've got to move up. Tessa's still dueling just one Sprout player. Those are two huge frags, but they're being real careful about it, Sprout.
Yeah, they're actually not a lot of nades. I mean, I like their sense of urgency you're bringing here because, it's 4v3, but once these smokes come up, they don't have a lot of utility to continue forward with the full exec, and the ops are still in play on the CT side. Are they shooting themselves in the foot by peeling back and playing this too slowly? They haven't actually made their way into B either. If they had led with a player, the entire site was rotated out of, but Cressy didn't make his way up the steps.
Look at the response from Heroic. They have full committed to the B bomb site. They are not going to be spread too thin. Pop flash, peek, seeking of information. Now, we're not seeing anybody there. They had rotated away. That is a brazen peek from Shush. No respect style. Sees one at the very least, but what of the rest of the team? Heroic going back towards the A site, but what is Sprout doing?
Oh, wait. Slack's going to die. Oh, my gosh. And then the op is still up here, and there's no time to rotate back, so the ETs come over, and this is the final engagement.
Oh, that's such a great angle as well for Tessus. Misses the first shot, but they just stand and peek him, and now it's only Spiddy left who has his gun out. They won't even plant the bomb. That is a real hard round to watch. Launders, what the hell just happened?
I think you said it, like, the way you're casting the action in the first A take, that's where it told the full story. They needed to commit off of these first two kills from Dennis. They're too sweet. They got so much map control here. They could have traded on the back of the site. Instead, they let Heroic with the nade advantage, with the gun advantage with the two ops, and with the rotation advantage, because on Vertigo, you can't rotate from A to B running. They hear you immediately.
Yep.
So Heroic know if they're not coming up the ramp now and they're walking back to B, we go back to B as well. We meet them there. Shush takes the peek, he gets the info, then they come back to A. Even without seeing them, it's very clear what they're trying to do. So they had an opportunity and they let it go.
Makes me wonder if they're awaiting further instructions in a scenario like that. Well, they've been given opportunity on the A bomb site. I can't see them not converting this one. Let's see how it goes. Heroic are on the way.
Famous last words, James.
Of course. There is a... well, they've got a fair amount of Kevlar as well, because obviously their loss bonus is maximum, so they can splash the cash a little more.
They're legit letting them get into place here.
Politely planting the bomb. Well then, be some spray here. That could cost some Sprout players because Biddy and Dennis are just one bullet away from doom. So this is an awkward situation. There is a buy for Heroic if they are to get wiped out here. Edging forward is Refresh. Just a smoke grenade now. Maybe it's time to give this one up 2 versus 5. That might be the case. Going back to the previous round though, like when they got 2 entries from the ramp, and at that point there were 3 Sprout players on the ramp. And one of them was fighting Tessus in a 1v1.
Yeah, default, yeah.
I feel like that's the time to storm the site. There's not going to be... Can't imagine there's going to be 4 players on A.
You almost run into the same trouble because I think the difference is, right, if you get the 2 kills and you have utility, then you have the option to wait a little bit because you can re-exec. And if there's no ops as well, or they're on a low buy, or you don't think they have a lot of nades, then you can pause and wait for them to push because you think they're going to be scared. But you can't really scare a team to pushing when they already have an advantage. They're not going to really move. They lack mobility at the op. They have strong lines. So when I see Sprout do these, push up and pause moments, it looks scary for them because they're playing like they have an edge, but they don't.
Oh, looks Looks like Sprout are favouring the early aggression towards ramp now. They were given a lot in the previous round and caught Heroic completely off guard for the second time in fairness, but his first successful time. We can see Tesses just can't quite see that T right below him, but he gets there eventually. Knows all the angles. Well, the first storm has been weathered by Heroic. Slack's waiting for that peak. Cadian's had a look from there more than once. Quick one with a pop flash. You can see Slax is concerned about more than one angle here, so makes it really difficult to be effective holding that.
It's nice to see the game plan evolving a little bit, because the early A-ramp aggression where it's hard to win the duels, but they are winning the duels, is good. I mean, that gets them an edge, but now Heroic are starting to wise up to it, getting better and better at defending. Oof, Slax misses an important shot. Trade comes back for Speedy, but this is info gained for the CTs, knowing where one of two players are left. And Stown is still here posted on A.
The re-peak will cost him. Cressy now has an angle. They know where one of the remaining two players is. There's refresh though. He's so fast.
Yeah, he's so fast.
30 seconds for Speedy now in a 1 versus 2. Just walks out right. Again, I love the lack of respect here from Heroic. It's kind of, it can be dangerous at times, but that is the nature of the beast. But they're so successful with it, especially in this particular game that we're seeing right now.
Yeah, and that's the situation where those two last fights didn't have anything to do with tactics or strategy. That was two fights where Sprout were more ready. They had the duel, and then Heroic just adjusted faster. Were just better riflers. Like, refresh is just literally better. Like, it's tough. It's tough when you lose because of that, but no surprise. Saw what Refresh did that 1v4 versus Astralis the other day. One of the most explosive 1v4s we've seen.
Yeah, he's. I expect huge things from him in the next 2 years, definitely. This is the pick of Sprout, Vertigo. And maybe in that pick lies some regrets at the moment. But not too late to recover. Again, look at the money. It's not great for Heroic. They just need to eliminate. They need to win by elimination here, Sprout. Then they can be like, okay, we've got 6 rounds ahead of us, guys. But we also have a lack of respect from Heroic. Shush again. Cressy with a late emergence through the smoke, and that won't work for him either, or Sprout. 3 versus 5 now. They've got nothing to show for it. HE's going in the wrong directions as well. Maybe they've come into this one a little cold.
Right into his arms. But Trade's like for body here, and Slack staying alive is something. They kind of can keep on to ramp control, but the CTs are just getting too curious. Big flank now. There's 2 players sitting on A. Whether the Ts know it, it's going to be a battle to get through into the A site. The CTs are ready. We'll see what happens. Full passive right now on A, just making sure no mid flanks could come out. But here comes the A exec.
Storm charging up behind them. Again, it's time pressure for Sprout to plant the bomb, and they don't have the personnel to hold position, and it just goes from bad to worse. Storm coming in from the back, and Heroic have 10 rounds to the 1 of Sprouts.
They knew at some point they're willing to take the risks to go for the pushes, and Shush especially, he's been so flagrant with his peaks over on the B site. When he sees nobody there or he gets his kills, he's just going to go through, take the information back, go for a full flank. And Shush is not the player that you really think about aim-wise, especially coming off his last roster. And we did an interview with Cadian recently where he talked about Shush, he's getting prepared to pick up all of the bitch spots, you know what I mean, like the tougher roles, because he's not going to be a core player on this team in that regard. But it clearly looks like his aim level has actually raised, even coming onto Heroic. And again, as Semler mentioned, the stats tell a really good story there, where pretty much everyone on Heroic is putting in a lot of work on the frag department.
It's a good fit. Now, will this jump be spotted? A lot of crap flying over from Heroic. So far, so good. Pistols again. And Sprout going through the smoke. That'll be a trade at the very least. This should be a very strong advantage for Heroic. The AUG will certainly help. Bombs in their hands now, and just one by one they're going in through a smoke and dying.
That last one was a bit surprising, but yeah, not totally in this right now.
Not the biggest challenge.
This is one of the games where you're like, maybe you learned a lot, so you want to go, you want to end the half, talk about the half afterwards, here's all the things we could do better. But at this moment, it feels like they're out of their depth.
Yeah. So Cressy and Faven have mustered 3 kills together. At this point, I think it was round 7. They still both had 0. So
Infinitely better than 0, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. There just seems to be a lot of hesitation from Sprout. And maybe it's, I don't know, the way they've designed their leading, where they literally hold until they're told to press on. But
yeah, I mean, strategically it's one thing. I think it's also fair to say they aren't keeping up in these 50-50 duels. They're losing too many of them, and that's the part of the story that comes down to the kills.
yeah, especially when you have the AKs every round. That you got the money for them. That's like it's pretty scary. But so is Refresh with an AK on the CT side. And again, we have the 2 AWPs for Heroic, with 4 players now on the A bomb site. After that dismantling towards B, wouldn't surprise me if
You saw it.
there was an A play from Sprout, and that's maybe the read from Heroic. There comes the aggression now. Not going to wait around. Refresh really hunting that one. Labor doesn't quite get there, but Shush will.
Still 2 found in the back, and now this means Sprout are going to be worried about a B push. It's not coming, but they're going to be worried about it. They actually go back to check the flank, which is probably a smart move from Sprout, because it takes some bravery to do this, knowing that Shush has been right on their tail whenever they've tried this. So they throw a late smoke on A. It's going to serve as kind of a fake, hold the attention of the CTs. Not actually a bad round so far from Sprout. But that kill comes down, the rotations out.
Yeah, Cadian's going to peek, I reckon. But
if he had lived longer.
yeah, the story's being told by the Molotovs on this B bomb site now. Making sure the site is clear. And that allows some time for Heroic to rotate, get closer before that bomb is planted.
This is the God angle. See how far back he is.
3 kits on Heroic, all together. Checking the initial angles. Seems we'll have
This
a
is so
boost.
scary to watch.
Oh, he's going to fall.
Ooh.
Oh, he's going to fall off.
Is he going to jump, though?
All right, then. No more nades, really. There's the initial trade. That bomb is in an awkward position, though. I don't think they're going to get this in time. They could lose a lot here. Oh, my God, the drive-by. Surely they can't get on the bomb in time. Dennis hiding now. He's going to make it as expensive as possible. Well, they both will.
Oh, they fought hard for that one. Shush didn't even pump the brakes.
I can't believe. Oh,
Well,
he's on fire. 19 for 4.
he's farming. He's on rollerblades. And again, he's not supposed to be the guy we're talking about first, man. It's supposed to be, especially on this map, it's like Stown, Tessus, signature spot at short shelf there, loves to play that position. But I mean, it's always been a good map for Shush. That's actually, not to say it hasn't. But in this new lineup, very surprising stuff. Very, very cool to watch. 2 rounds left in the half, and a thin silver lining on a very dark cloud here for Sprout, as they're able to pick up a second round, and they do it off of some tactical brilliance. Like, they actually find that hole on the way back to B, and they commit to it, and it still comes close in the end, but they put it on the board. That's all that matters. And now money's kind of tight, obviously, with everyone dying, so the 2 MAC-10s here will have to make do.
How many kills is Shush good for from this position? Well, almost 1. It's a long way down. Storm alone on the B bomb site. See if Sprout commit. Molly will try to separate the numbers. All kinds of flashes coming through. He can't see anything. This has to be a round for Sprout, surely. Look at the money on Heroic.
Yeah, those flashes were pretty brutal. I mean, they were chain flashes. Stown was blind the entire time, and they got that opening kill. And that's just better from what we saw on the A ramp, where they'd get the kill, not pounce on the opportunity. Here they had actually very low nades. They used every nade that they had, and once they got their kill, they just committed quickly. That's it. Just beat the rotations. There's no secrets there. Heroic are going to be overstacking the B site in a game like this, where 70 or 80% of the rounds have been ending on A. So just smart, pragmatic calling from Sprout, and yeah, a good couple of tactics, some nice awareness, and just some good utility right there. 3 rounds. It's not like it's suddenly doable, but at least they've got some dignity back.
Yeah, it's way more reasonable than it was looking. At least there's that. 4 would be fantastic at this point. I mean, fair enough. If you're outclassed, you're outclassed, but there's still a chance to do something in the second half. Just need a few rounds of breathing room.
I think if you don't like, I mean, they like the map. They just don't win that much on it. They play a lot of Vertigo, but I always feel like CT side takes the edge off a bit. Sometimes on T side, I think that's where you see the most amount of discomfort. A lot of the times, CT side, you pick your spot. Maybe one is like you got your favorite op angle. It's a little bit easier to get kills sometimes, but not so much for Cadian. He gets blasted into another dimension. Stown tries to shoot, but he goes cross-eyed, shoots right in the middle of both of them. And wow, Spreader very much alive all of a sudden. 3 kills in about 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's looking like that much-needed 4th round. Unless the UMP goes absolutely nuclear here, but it's just not something you see these days.
Oh, man. He actually got... Oh, he got into sandbag. Oh. Tell me there's a chance, James.
There's always a chance.
Okay.
There's always a chance. Crazier things have happened. We've got an upgrade for the UMP as well. Where is this HE grenade growing? To no man's land. It is the last round of the first half. This will be a full commitment from Heroic. Sprout looking to double, maybe even triple peak, it looks like. They will hear the scope. Easy lineup for Cressy. That'll pad his stats. A mentally taxing half for Sprout, but towards the end they string some very crucial rounds together. They have a chance, but how much of one? We will find out after the break. Sprout move into the CT side. With only 4 rounds on the T side, this is their pick of Vertigo. And it's time, perhaps, that they show us why. Heroic, a very tough opponent for them. How many rounds do you think we're going to see out of Sprout?
In that, I'll give them another 4.
Okay.
I'll give them another 4. I mean, I think 16-8, from what we saw, I mean, they barely scraped it together at the end, so I think I'm being generous.
13-1 are the odds that are being offered by Unicorn.
Based on what we saw, I mean, I've seen closer 11-4 halves. That was very,
yeah.
There's a little bit of luck involved, I feel like.
Yeah, some variants with pistol rushes and such.
Yeah.
So, generous odds, but I wouldn't take those ones in particular.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, this is the quietest pistol round in recent memory. We have the P250 on Storn and Shush. They are double raid boss dropped by Tesses. I love it. This makes me very, very happy. That'll give them roughly double the one-shot range of the Glock for this pistol round. Super important that T-sides have this. Can really go fishing with it as well, as they are doing. And Sprout have to peek a little just to see what's going on. Otherwise, Heroic could just advance onto the site. And then things could become very painful. Speaking of pain, Cadian's off to the med bait. Fake plant from Tesses. Very pokey proddy from both squads. Second plant being attempted now. Storm trying to cover. Well, there's worst case scenario ticked off. The bomb has been planted.
They're trying to go for the smoke. Oh wait, the smoke's come out. Did one land on the bomb? Yeah.
Well, Tessus was as exposed as he possibly could be. And they've lost all position now, Heroic. Sprout being very, very patient indeed. There's the opening kill. There's the defuse from Dennis. Very simple stuff. And Faven will probably get away with perfect armor as well, so he gets a cheap helmet. That was an unusual one.
Yeah, they were pretending like they were going to fight the whole time. And the whole while they also had two smokes in the kit. And you could say you saw they didn't
Zero
buy
cover.
Yeah, they didn't buy any impact grenades, and Heroic were thinking, I guess, that there's going to be some kind of fight, so they're ready to just duel it out, but it never comes. Sprout whittle them down, and then go for that smoke stick, and it's strong on the pistol where you don't have great guns to spam with. So
I'm still not comfortable with a second round looking like this. Heroic lost the round. They've got 3 AK-47s.
Yeah, the plant is almost as important as winning the round. Almost, exactly as important.
Yeah. Like, this is, for me, I mean...
The thing is, it's better than it used to be, right? Because it's still messy, but remember we used to cast games and be like, you win one round, 2 free rounds, 1 rifle, it's 5-0, 1 rifle, it's 7-0. And you could still feel like the other team was better, but they got, that 1 lucky kill on round. And we don't have that anymore, at least, but...
Yeah,
it doesn't feel right, though.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable. Yeah, I'm not comfortable.
I'm just not willing to do the math to figure out the better solution because I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I want, but I don't think it's.
Show it to me.
I don't think it's this. It's not me, it's you. 50 seconds remain here as Heroic really trying to concentrate their efforts. Moves together. Combine into some Megazord Power Ranger, some kind of blast cannon. Refresh, of course, might be that cannon. Oh boy, the swing from Faven. They weren't expecting that. And there's 2 of them there. Not sure if that's even been realized. And maybe this round won't be realized for Heroic. 25 seconds. Just a man down at present. But how do they plant the bomb? That's the key issue here. Cressy on the way. Won't be spotted by Shush. Off he goes.
And the lurk. Cadian's going to cause a problem here.
Oh, it was a sound cue as
well.
Oh
my God, that was so fast.
That was so sharp. Cadian has twitchy African fibers. 2-on-2 now, as they've completely slinked past him. It's like Metal Gear Solid. Heroic are playing at present. I think Shush has got a sound cue here as well. Playing a weird angle, and it's headshots 24/7. How this round has turned around.
He just zips him up. How is that so fast? Cadian shot on the door cross. I mean, that looked that looked as fast as picking someone crossing mid on dust too fast. I was like, okay, he's gonna shoot, but the guy will run right by. That was quick stuff.
He's visualizing.
That was good. Yeah, he was visualizing. He was ready for the cross. That was some good stuff.
Saw it happen. Saw it happen.
The oldest player on Heroic.
Beautiful. 12 for 5.
Shush.
In favor of Heroic.
And yeah. And like you're saying, this doesn't feel like a round where Sprout just won the last round. So that is fair. Here they come up, all these AKs onto the site, and Sprout know that. But of course, if you know the other team got the bomb plants, you have to upgrade to better guns right away as opposed to the SMGs. I think that's one part of the meta that's somewhat interesting, at least with the money.
I really thought Heroic were done for in that round after the 2-man spray down from Faven, but
it was a good setup. It was great.
It really was, but not enough.
The mid round, super cool.
So we see some presence shown from Heroic in mid, lots of grenades and such, but they quietly move away, it seems, or at least move back somewhat. We've got a big boost on the A-bomb site from Sprout, but this commits a lot of people to one position. You can see Heroic being very patient here.
It's always scary when it's really quiet, but it looks like... Okay. Oh no, he falls off.
But look, what is the response? Look at Heroic, they move immediately.
Yeah, because they know 3 have to be there.
Exactly, and they could even catch somebody on the rotation. They've got a 4-man commitment to this A-bomb site. Sprout and Heroic are not giving any cues away. How many kills would Cressy maybe be good for? Actually, this little bait could work out for them. Indeed, Cressy will try and make advantage from it. Just the 1 kill, though, and nobody else is there.
Faven finds a sliver of an angle to get a kill. Cadian slow on the flank. The bomb can get planted, and Cadian has enough time here, I think. The CTs are going to move slowly. They've got some utility to work with. So depending on how focused they are on this or unaware of the flank, Cadian can be offered up a lot. He can also just, take names, say, oh, there's a guy on the right as well. Holy smokes, he's going to try to make this happen. I mean, it's at least 90 damage, but not the kills.
Yeah, he's got a Mac 10 at range. You can't really blame him. Refresh is not going to be able to hold things down here. The AK is working well for Sprout, and they're given a second wind maybe here on Vertigo.
Okay, that was generous. I think Cadian was kind of surprised to see someone there on the right, wanted to get even closer, but couldn't get that one kill. I thought Refresh was going to grab that because I think Favin had 7 HP, missed his first bullet there, and would have been on for the 1v1.
I think Cadian had the worst common weapon possible
for that
situation.
Yeah.
Of the weapons people use commonly, that was the worst one.
It's kind of smart the way he played that, though. He was the guy who saw the triple boost on the ramp, and then he ends up just walking through A. Because he's so sure that Sprout are going to hard rotate after he tells his teammates to go over to B. Another very strong call, despite the result.
Well then, a chance gifted to Sprout. Sprout now with 3 scopes, 2 of them AUGs. Okay, Tesses. All right then.
That's a monster shot, and he seems to be super. Oh well, he's gonna know. Speedy's got. Yeah.
He's just been stuck there.
I don't think Speedy had the option to really take that fight.
Yeah, had to get away. Had to get away, and maybe the cards will start to collapse here. Tesses still on Desert Eagle only at present, but he does have an AWP behind him in the hands of Cadian. Sprout closing on the A-bomb site as well. No lurkers across the map. We're all here waiting for these smokes to go, and there's 1 minute on the clock, so not too much pressure for Heroic just yet, but that's a spray down from Faven. And Dennis here to trade on Refresh, and Sprout moves to 7. So after the nightmare of the T side, maybe they can find some comfort on the CT side.
Yeah, they begin to make it a real game. We've got another buy here for Heroic to see if that story actually continues or not. No op, of course, but you don't need one on T side. It's kind of interesting. It feels like it's really up to the opper whether or not they want to take a slow round on the A ramp and see if people push. But it's absolutely not necessary for you to win or feel comfortable. Unlike certain maps, they go for the run boost. It's successful. He gets comfortably planted on top of the sandbags and finds a kill. Slacks is out. Only 1 left on B. Sprout might be a touch nervous, but it'll cause Sprout to expel some grenades in response to this death, which makes their situation even worse. And Heroic the whole while have actually decided to rotate off, get up the ramp, and there's no pressure here from any of the close positions. They're also not being shy about this. Wow, this is such a fast move.
Just simply charging, Sprout falling back and getting a fadeaway kill with Faven on the FAMAS. Speedy now. Oh, he's in trouble. Look at that spray. He's got to be real careful. Even if he gets headshot through the wall, that's going to be a problem. Awkward smokes now for Sprout to deal with, and this is surely going to slow them down. Already at a man in disadvantage. They've got some smokes to try and create a wall somewhere, and a Molotov as well. There's an unlikely kill. Storm needs a reload, falls back. There goes Cressy, utterly deleted by Tesses. What can Sprout do now? Speedy with the kit, but they're moving away.
Damn, this is the kind of round that makes... This is what's really hard to play, why it's really hard to play against Heroic, because, there's a lot of teams in the top 20 or whatever that innovate a lot and they bring a lot of new ideas and stuff like that, but I think this really strong mid-round calling is what makes Heroic special, because they're more resilient to this kind of this meta of having to play a lot of CS all the time. Like, they have to play events back to back, and so in order to stay fresh, you have to have something that allows you to stay fresh while the match is live. You can't just bring in new gimmicks and tactics, and it's this mid-round calling that's if you watch Heroic's demo, it's going to be hard to kind of anti-strat their mid-round calling, because that move right there to get that kill on B and then come up the A ramp so quickly, it's like, how are Sprout going to be aware of that? They were never willing to make any kind of move close to that in their half.
Oh, that's a swing and a miss from Slacks. Concerned about a push now. It would be favorable for Heroic to go 1-for-1 here. Blind, and they can hit a jump. They know he's still around, but... Oh my god, what a boost! That was absolutely insane. They won't benefit from it too much, though. 2-for-1 to go Sprout, but that was quite fancy indeed. Speedy now with some aggression towards, say, bomb side as Sprout tried to take control. Creating some space before a response can come. That's the bomb carrier Refresh, but Spitty maybe overplaying his hand there, 4 versus 2, and that is an opening for Heroic, making their way towards the A-bomb site. We can see Faven is there, trying to stay quiet. He's got the information. Cressy's on the way, as is Dennis.
All from the standard rotator position. So the longer that this goes on, the more scared Sprout are going to be that it might be some kind of fake. And Shush, he has the memo that Faven is up close. There's also one Heaven spotted. And now they've distilled the situation. It's a 2-on-2. Anyone's game. Oh, he can't be seen. And there's, again, the option. If they wait, there's the option that the CTs decide to rotate back to B. And also, Heroic could potentially try to beat them there. But they're worried. The CTs are the ones that get split off of this. They don't want to, be sold a bill of goods here. And
Famas versus the AK.
Refresh
has got the AK as well. There's no chance. He has no chance. Might as well wave the white flag. It's just not fair. Dennis now's got to go for the quick scopes. Has he given the sound cue away or just not left enough?
2v4.
Refresh is nasty.
He is.
He's absolutely disgusting.
No cool bait.
That was a great boost. And as strong as he is, what did you think of that push?
Yeah, that was.
Hindsight 2020.
Hindsight's 2020, but
it was a 4v2.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would be, on the one hand, you don't want to give a team like Heroic too much respect because then how are you ever going to win this game, right? You've got to actually believe in yourself somewhat that you can win a 4v2. But at the same time, do we need like a gimmick? Like, do we need A bottom, A ramp control? Do we need to like push through a smoke at any point? And I think that's the question. Like, the thing about holding down here in specific is when you're holding, where are you going to stand? It's actually not that fun to sit here. There's a chance that all these angles can get cleared out one by one, and that he could have died even if he got through that smoke. So
maybe it's more of a 2v4 play than a 4v2 play.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I wasn't a big fan of it. Obviously, didn't work out, but again,
yeah,
we're genius with X-ray.
Yeah, it looks bad when it goes wrong. It looks great when it goes well. It's one of those ones.
Yeah.
Sprout now with half the score of Heroic. Continuation spray from Tesses. Well, they've seen 2 players towards the A-bomb site. Worst case scenario, that means Heroic are 4v2 on the B-bomb site. So with that, they might as well speed up before the rotation comes through. Dennis, patient, but he's against Refresh. That's a problem. Not really much to be done here by Sprout, but maybe there's a chance. Faven's given himself a 1v2. Only one of those 2 players is on the bomb site. Don't think he realizes that just yet.
If there's anything we talk about with Sprout, it is Faven. This guy has consistently top fragged. Last time they played, he's the only guy with like a positive rating and 84 plus ADR. 1v2 now to see if he can scare him.
No
but he's missing the bomb too. He wanted to tap it, but he can't find it even.
This is awkward. This is a death warrant essentially. There's no time to defuse the bomb.
Tough. That's going to be 15 here for Heroic, about to close out this map. I gave 8 rounds in total, James. Wasn't trying to be rude.
It's an honest estimate. Shush closing in on a 30 bomb here.
Yeah, give him that because it's definitely already felt like it off of that first half. I mean, I think he's only gotten 5 kills in the second half. That first half was completely insane.
26 for 11 is Shush at present. Refresh 19 for 8. A fair bit behind, but my God, the impact frags.
He don't miss.
And there he is. I think he wants that 30 bomb charging through. Made it to 27, but with 15 HP, it would be somewhat exceptional if he's able to do it in this round. Refresh will take the lead. Cressy, lucky to be alive at this point. Trying to cross to the boxes, and that's cost him almost everything. Heroic in complete control here.
Anywhere works. Only a Deagle to defend A by itself.
That is a chunky HE grenade. Follow-up Molotov as well. Force him from his position and execute him at will. 5 versus 3. A fake for a desperate play. Nothing doing just yet. Farven's up. There's the opening kill for what remains of Sprout. No kit on Faven or Spiddy. And then it's just Faven or Farven. And there it is, 16-7. Utter dominance from Heroic from start to finish, really. Great individual play from Shush, and Refresh, of course, you can see he's very happy. He has some nasty entries across that map.
What was great was it wasn't very close, but it was super fun to watch. That with all of the amazing individual plays from Heroic as they're talking about, and it sets up the story for them and how scary they actually are going to be. They're going to be top of the power ranking for a lot of us at this event, and this is a map that shows us that they are very awake right away.
It is break time. When we're back, thoughts at the desk on that first map. We'll see you back here shortly.
We were at a place called Vertigo, and for Sprout, it was everything they wish they didn't know. 16-7 as they lose out on their map pick to the Danes. But Semler, Lex, I don't think it's necessarily a surprise to see this kind of scoreline. We were coming into this, prefacing it, saying that Sprout, they were kind of cornered in this map veto, and Heroic, they started off strong as we expected.
They certainly did.
Yeah, I mean, no real surprises when it comes to the outcome of the match. It really could have been even worse for Sprout, I feel like. I mean, it was 11-4 halftime. Honestly, 4 of those rounds maybe were kind of lucky for Sprout in the first place.
One of the strengths of Heroic, I think, as well, is that they do not underestimate anybody that they play against. They play just as hard, whether it's against Gambit or against Sprout. And you see the result here. I think they kind of let the gas off a little bit towards the beginning of that, or towards the end of that first half. But I mean, Katie himself has come out and he said, like, we take everybody seriously. We smash everybody, and we saw that here right now. Sprout are not getting any kind of easy rounds out of Heroic.
Yeah, and I think that was something when we were coming into this, Lex, you were kind of saying potentially Sprout did have an opportunity if they'd seen, some of the games that Heroic played against Gambit, the likes of them, potentially pulling out some pocket strats, but it just didn't seem like they were given any room to move to even exploit any weaknesses they'd seen.
Yeah, I mean, imagine being in Sprout's shoes. You're looking at the map pool and the potential options that you have to play in this series, and at Vertigo may have just been the most appetizing one of them, but I mean, even then, it's a tough pill to swallow, and obviously it didn't work out for them in map 1. Map 2 coming up, I mean, Nuke is Heroic's home map at this point, and it's likely going to be a rough one.
Yeah, it's definitely been a rough one so far for the side of Sprout. We can see that just from looking at some of the statistics here. Sema, you were saying coming into this, everybody on the side of Heroic can step up, and they really did in the series.
And they did, yeah. Shush in particular, who's supposed to be the support player, supposed to be the glue guy. Yeah, he actually just murked them completely. I was actually chuckling at Refresh's headshot percentage, 65% across 20 frags. Like that's, you see like a really high headshot percentage, like yeah, but the guy had like 10 kills, whatever. No, he's dropping 20 and still hitting 65% headshots. Like they're so good. They're just so good on Heroic right now.
Yeah,
there's no weakness on the team.
No, exactly. It's so clinical coming out from them, and potentially we were looking at some flares of hope from Sprout as we were going. I believe it was round number 8 that we saw them potentially getting a little bit of an advantage in, but it was the hesitations as well. It was so frustrating to see from Sprout.
Yeah, and honestly, when it comes to being an underdog in a matchup like this, to such a degree, I mean, Heroic is just that much better than a lot of the teams that maybe we're going to talk about in this event. But as a player, maybe you're not necessarily used to playing at this level and this caliber of team consistently. Fav in an interview this morning with HLTV actually stated this is going to be a great experience for us one way or another. We're going to learn some stuff out of this. And if you go back and watch that Vertigo demo as Sprout, I mean, there's some things that you can really key in on very quickly while you're watching that game back. And a lot of that has to do with spacing, confidence, and hesitation on the approaches to the bomb sites. And, I mean, there was 4 or 5 different rounds, and one that we're going to highlight here that really stood out to me, where it's like, okay, you have your advantages in front of you, and you don't take them just because you're giving so much respect to Heroic.
Yeah, maybe we can take a look at that particular round that we had in mind, because this was coming off a string of Heroic just getting so many rounds in a row. Again, we do see Sprout losing out on this one, but they did have an initial advantage, right? Yeah,
I think there's a couple of beautiful entries over here at A ramp, and you even have the personnel to back this up and take the A site, and instead, right here we see Dennis stepping forward, taking the challenge against Refresh, and then follows up with another one on Cadian. And okay, you got Testas on site. Get up there and trade them out. There's a 4-on-1 situation. The rotator comes in, and suddenly you have all this utility. All 3 players from Heroic have already backed him up, and Sprout just one decision after another. The hesitation leads to a round win for Heroic.
Yeah, and it's kind of painful to see when we're seeing Sprout getting some of these entries as well. And we did see them, in the latter half of that first half, or latter part of that first half, should I say, getting a little bit more space, but it's almost just too little too late when it's at that kind of scoreline.
Well, this is the kind of match, it's worth mentioning, guys, that this is the kind of match where you will, in a bracket format like this, where it's one big bracket, you're going to have top seed against bottom seed. And Heroic are one of the top seeds in this tournament, and Sprout are one of the bottom seeds of this tournament. And so I think that it's fair that Faven makes that comment in the interview going into this match, that they're going to get a lot of experience.
Oh, yeah.
Sprout have got their grind on. These guys are just playing non-stop, but they're in that quagmire of Tier 2 CS, really just fighting through these online qualifiers, not getting to play against Heroics that often, because guess what? Teams like Heroic, they get the direct invites to the tournaments. They have the high ranking, so they can just get right on into the closed qualifiers, and so Sprout don't really get to play against these guys very often. So now they're going to get that gut check. All right, okay, this is actually what's separating us, and I think you make a really good point that they're just showing a bit too much respect.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, kind of conversely, I guess you could say, for Sprout, it's kind of the realization now after map 1, well, we just watched Heroic essentially disrespect us from start to finish, and I don't mean that as a negative term, but I mean, the amount of times we saw, Shush just walk up towards the set of A stairs and take a gun battle. How many times did we see Sprout dying with grenades in their hands, just not expecting that level of aggression, where, versus more level caliber opponents, maybe you would view that as careless or a risk that's not worth taking, but Heroic know they have all the advantages and they're not going to let up the gas. So for Sprout going into map 2, that's very much a wake-up call that I think they're going to need.
And we say it all the time. I mean, it is a bit of a repeat at this point, but it's true. You have to force them to respect you, and so you can't play your game until you're getting Heroic to actually take you seriously and say like, okay, we can't peek those angles because you're holding the angle and we got shot in the face. Okay, fair enough. Shush stops peeking.
Yeah.
But you don't get to skip from A to Z. You don't get to be like, oh yeah, cool, let's set up right, and then Shush is just mowing you all down. It doesn't work. You can't skip steps.
If I'm going to hunt some silver lining here, I really think that towards the end of that game, or at least towards the end of the first half, even, Sprout kind of did start to open up a little bit and play with some confidence. I honestly don't think I saw them let go of shift until like round 12 or something, and they started winning the last few rounds. Well, it's because the decisiveness was finally there.
Yeah, we've definitely got to talk about the next map coming up in this series. But before we do that, I think we've got to talk a little bit more about Shush, because you were sort of highlighting him as one of the supportive players coming into this. Definitely didn't show any of those supportive elements. He was top fragging on the server, looking incredibly dominant.
Question marks if you weren't in the Danish scene, let's say, when he was picked up on Heroic. I mean, he's been actually going through the rounds. He was in Mad Lions, you know, the Flashpoint 1 champions. I mean, Shush has got experience, but Cadian made it very clear, I believe at Blast, one of the Blast interviews, where he's like, yeah, we headhunted Shush. We wanted him on the team. He brings so much to it, and not only because he can clearly frag, but also because he can be that support guy, throw the nades, jump how high. You know, Cadian says jump, he's there just throwing himself around corners. He'll do everything for the team. And so he is that perfect team player that I think Cadian was really looking for when the roster change happened, and he's certainly come up big for the team.
And now we're coming on to the final, or potential final battleground of Nuke if we're seeing Heroic taking this 2-0. And I'm wondering, Lex, do you see any flares of hope coming into this for Sprout as a potential to push it to that third map?
You know, having watched a little bit of Sprout's Nuke T-sides, you know, coming into this match, I really worry for their ability, and this kind of actually almost is parallel to what we might have seen on Vertigo just now, where you know, the hesitation, not necessarily being close in your spacing, ready for trades, and they rely a lot, I think, on Faven to find entries. He's a kind of like the lobby lurker, the guy who has responsibility for hut and door pushes. So, you know, as he's fishing for his picks, if he's finding some entries, you know, I absolutely could maybe see Sprout finding a few rounds where they shouldn't. But ultimately, I mean, this is Heroic's home map for a reason, and they're definitely not going to allow Sprout any breathing room.
No, I expect to see Cadian actually step up as well on an individual level here on this map. This is kind of his turf. He gets to stomp around. He gets to throw that op weight around a bit as well. And so we should see more action from him in yard, where he gets to kind of lay it out and get that info, but also make those plays. So Cadian was at the bottom of the scoreboard here, but I expect to see him a little bit higher.
Well, we're going to see how Cadian fares exactly on his home turf as we're heading on into Nuke. We're getting it started with Launders and James jumping into map number 2.
Well then.
Yes.
Sprout picked Vertigo. They got smashed. Heroic picked Nuke. What happens?
Do you have a limerick?
No.
Okay.
I could make one.
Yeah.
You have one.
I had one
on the spot.
because I had one. Well, I made one.
There was a desk host called Freya. I'll get back to you on the rest.
Okay, mine's really bad. Heroic, more like boring. Sprout will have to dig deep. Maybe if Favin plays well, he'll get a spot on big. Back to you, James.
That's not a limerick. Those are just words.
It's poetry.
Yeah, but the pistol round is here, and Heroic have made their way into a bomb site. No one's here for Sprout. This is full retake territory. Spiddy's got full grenades, so we'll see where those are thrown. Cressy goes up the ladder as the bomb is planted, and then this is by T-Red looking for a lurker, but I don't think there is going to be one. There's the HE into the site, and we've got 3 men on the road up top for Sprout as more grenades are deployed. Try to isolate some fights as they're going for that retake. Tess avoiding the flashbang, but he can't avoid the headshots from Spiddy. Look at the kill feed. It's all Heroic on the floor. Refresh now to 1 versus 4. Has got a smoke to go through as well. Holding the diffusers. Spiddy looks to body block as well. And there it is. The pistol round goes the way of Sprout with a bonus frag for Refresh towards the end or 2.
Well, they're very nice on the CT pistols at least, and that's good. And we know in the past, a long time ago, okay, Lex brought up in some of the recent games, their T-sides haven't looked good on this map, but I actually saw a Sprout T-side. There was one that made Reddit because it was like so well done, and they played the entire half. It was just so well orchestrated from beginning to end. So I'm kind of curious about their T-side coming up. I just wish it wasn't versus such a comfy map for Heroic, so we could actually see if they do have some kind of cool plan that'll come to fruition. But at least we get CT right now, and a strong start for Sprout right away. Good damage early, opening kill, even though they take some damage in response. And this is crazy. It's like Scout's knives outside. Everybody kind of just dry peeking with their scouts to try to take these duels. It ends up favoring Heroic at the end of this. And now there's an interesting mid round where they're overstacked towards mid, looking to make sure that nobody's crossed yet. Meanwhile, Heroic have already changed the game plan completely and have made their way back to ramp. And the way that they move so deliberately on these big rotations, I think creates timings for them. Because Sprout are just, 1 step behind on guessing where they're thinking about. But wow, in this position, they've actually made the right call. Never mind. They're in a very good spot here on both sides of control. There's no utility to smoke out these positions, so there's not going to be an open plan except for, it looks like, decon, but they'll have to make that guess.
Well, bombs on the floor. And there's plenty more issues for Storm as well.
Oh, that was a really great read.
34 seconds to try and clutch this one. perhaps trying to collect a rifle. Indeed, he's got himself an AK-47. Crazy may have spotted him, I'm not sure. Looks like he has. Storm now 37 HP, 20 seconds. Could do some more damage here. 18 seconds to get a bomb plant, trying to invite somebody out. Saw one more in control. 13 now. Really got to keep an eye on this clock, and Faven just opens the door, puts him out of his misery as Sprout make it to 2.
That was pretty cool. Okay, I thought Sprout were, really slow to this with how they were stuck around watching these outside cross angles and only had 3 players up after some of that scout damage went back and forth, but they made the smart move, got down lower quickly, and they really gambled on it. Had nobody watching upstairs, so very surprised that Heroic got caught off guard there, but how are they supposed to know that Sprout were so willing to gamble like that? Who wants to go up?
Oh, just spotted Slacks, but there's no massive surprise about that position. Just wants to catch him. There we go. Showing a little too much skin. Heroic, a conservative group.
Sun's out, James.
Punish the insolence. Well then. Very quiet, very...
Everything you say sounds like the name of a metal band.
Punish the insolence. Heroic really trying to punish Sprout for peeking, for seeking information. Cressy falling away. Good estimates on where to throw the HE grenade. And he'll hold control of Secret for now. Again, Heroic slowly edging forward. Just confident with these AK-47s, I think it's fair to say. And Cadian can't quite land the headshot there. That was an opportunity. Will now be missed on this occasion. Very arid climate in this round. Tessa spotted now on the outside. But how do they get inside and plant the bomb? That's the question here. 24 seconds with which to do it. There's an entry into A. And maybe there's a chance. 1 rifle on the 2 players, and they definitely need a pistoling player to really plant the bomb here, but they were collapsed upon by Sprout at just the right time. And it's a 3-0 for Sprout. So after a very difficult game of Vertigo, we're seeing a lot more from them early on here.
Yeah, not a lot of money here. So not a lot of money here to go off of for Heroic. Let's see what they invest into. Some deagles, some nades. Okay, these are some of my favorite rounds, James, because you have just enough utility to come up with one strat, but the round's not going to be complicated enough that you can do a lot. So what is the tactic that they want to try? Is there going to be a vent drop, actually? It looks like they're going for it. Did the bomb make its way down? No, that's on Cadian. Okay, so they've created a situation where they're trying to pull rotations downstairs by creating suspicion about this lower drop. And somehow Cadian makes his way into lower as well, right after Stout. This is a plant coming in. There's no one at ramp. The CT has not called the timing here. This is a huge mistake. 3 players have dropped through the vent. Why is no one talking to each other?
There's a lot of movement, a lot of sound cues as Tesses is lurking. It almost feels like they've got rifles. They've got so much information. Tesses coming in from the back. He's heard so many players heading towards the ramp. Look at the awkward angles. Heroic very expectant, but Sprout are the ones with the rifles. A lot of flashbangs as well, but look how far ticked that bomb is already. They've got to deal with all these players who are alive before they try and defuse this bomb. This is going to be a disaster. They're basically running to their doom, and that's exactly what I'm seeing. They're losing so many weapons. Slacks can't even touch the bomb.
Oh my god, what a disaster. That was not very good. Sprout there, at first, okay, there's a tactic to get down the vent. One guy getting down the vent on a timing, that's fine. There might be a bad CT spawn. Nade comes out late towards Squeaky. That's okay. And the bomb didn't actually get down. But then you respond to it. You get the ramp tide to drop and your upper guys say, oh, someone might have dropped, right? And then you get someone to rotate down. But even after that, I mean, Cadian just comes down like it's a clown car. Like 3 seconds later, just walks through into the vent. 3 seconds later, his friend comes with them. It's like the party's downstairs. And no CTs have rotated whatsoever. But more than that, no one seems to have even told the ramp guy someone might be downstairs, or told the outside guy that you need to go down secret just in case to watch the back of the vent. And they just get so much control on top of the fact that no one's spraying them down on their way down the vent in the first place. So, way too big of a gap. In the future, a lot of the meta for some teams is just abusing Squeaky as much as possible because it controls his fast rotation. If they let that open, I mean, the sky's the limit for the T side.
after the plants as well. Just Heroic with full information, basically. That really was a suicide mission. And now we see all of Sprout upstairs and almost all of Heroic downstairs. Speedy now just wondering how the turntables launders.
I too like a Michael Scott reference.
It's a very appropriate place to do it.
Sbarro is my favorite New York slice.
This has quickly turned into a bizarre game of Nuke.
It's very strange, but this takes advantage of anybody who is like any bit uncomfortable on CT side, because like rotate. So the thing about Nuke, right, is if you rotate downstairs, it's easy. You come off the rafters, you go down the vents, you go to ramp or whatever, you go lower, it's easy. What's hard is coming back up. So when you come up the vent, that sucks, right? You don't want to have to come up secret. That feels dangerous. That feels where the T's were. So you never want to take that first step of coming off the rafters or coming down the vent, because then it feels like you're a fool if they end up going upstairs again. And that's why teams might be slow to rotate. They don't want to get made to look like fools. But then you get in a situation like this where the bomb can go down downstairs. The CTs have no idea because the communication isn't quite there, and there's a gap. And the CTs are just going to be very, very slow to rotate. So they need to be much better simply about communicating what's open and being less shy about rotating in general. I'd say better to rotate fast twice in this kind of game than to not rotate at all, unless they want to just keep hoping that Heroic are going to go upstairs.
Pop! And with that, we have a 4 versus 4. Cadian got blasted with the scout earlier on.
Pop.
Well, this will be a very interesting duel. Who will be more patient?
It's an AUG, but of course Refresh is going to win.
Oh boy, and there comes the cavalry. It's a stampede in towards the B bomb site once again. That leaves Farvan and Cressy with not much to do here. Maybe rescue a rifle or something. I mean, who knows? There's a small chance, a very small chance. But it looks like Heroic are in full control now. And of course, this is a weaker buy from Sprout. So once they get their money right, maybe they can put things back in their favor. But I don't know how confident I feel about that right now.
They got to get their money up, James. They're standing on their money, but they're looking short, James. They're looking like Maui.
I knew that was coming.
I haven't made one Maui short joke this whole event. I'm not even trying to make it a thing. It's not even going to be a thing.
No.
It's everyone else bringing it up.
Fruit.
Yeah.
It's low-hanging fruit.
I already feel bad about it. It's me who feels weird on the desk, you know?
Do you know what my problem with desks is?
Not them.
My problem with desks is me versus the desk. Because if you think about when people are standing at the desk normally, right, it's like waist height. For me, it's below waist height.
Yeah, you can see that
So
belt.
it's like my junk is
Zipper
just there.
and, yep.
Yeah, it's just there.
The blueberries.
It's like it's on the desk almost.
Yep.
You know?
And you got a lot to hide, James. So.
I'm better over here in the chair. Right then. More action towards the vent. SS delayed, but 2 players make it 3. They all get downstairs once again. There'll be a molly for their troubles as well. And it's a fast plant. Spitty can all but watch the flames at the ramp. All that wasted wine. Now Sprout will eventually make their way. It's a 5v5 retake of the B bomb site. And Dennis is creeping alone. The remainder of his team, though. I mean, normally if you're... Well, I mean, they're still like...
Say what's on your mind.
Okay, so it looks like if Dennis gets something done, we'll go for it. Because normally, like, if you're pushing an angle alone, you're going to wait for you to play off with your teammates. You're going to be a bit delayed. But yeah, that one... I don't feel like they ever tried to retake that. Dennis was just a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah, that's tough.
Basically.
I mean, the game plan just gets smarter and smarter for Heroic. It's like they're just dressing it up differently. It's still ending B. They're just finding new ways to get there. And especially if they get kills on the way, then if you're a ramp guy, either if you get ramp guy gets 2 kills, you're probably winning that round. Your ramp guy gets 1 kill and stay alive, you're probably winning that round. If your ramp guy doesn't get a kill, you're probably losing. And if your ramp guy just gets downstairs, it's like close to 50-50. You know, it's a good amount of map control, but still anything can happen.
We've got 4 people outside now for Sprout, with 2 AWPs on deck. This is a very unorthodox play, but look at the response from Heroic. They seem to have figured something out because Farvan's having to run away from the ramp position, and now Hell's being compromised by Heroic. Still swings and misses.
Oh, that's such a good molly. They just needed that. Stiko told me about this angle. Oh, you get the shadow advantage.
Yeah.
You can see everyone above you, and you can hear people jumping up, apparently. It does it all.
Why isn't Stiko telling me about this stuff?
You watch the videos with that video I made with Stiko. Then you can learn.
Where can I find this video, Launders?
YouTube.com/Launders.
Boom. There it is.
Ding the bell and everything. Will he get it?
I mean, if he does that just make it more likely that he's hunted afterwards? We shall see.
That's true. Yeah, maybe he just rang the alarm.
Yeah, he's got no choice at that point, I suppose. Yeah, there are problems with the structural integrity of Sprout's defenses right now. They went for a 4-man play outside. Maybe one of them was in main, but they didn't get anything from it at all.
Yeah, and the whole time it was ramp. It's actually kind of, again, perfect from Heroic. They probably get a bit lucky, the fact that they send one person outside to entertain the idea that outside's coming, and then all these guys they've got all their attention outside, like, oh, sweet, we're going to actually end the round here. And then the whole time it's just this huge ramp rush coming, like a giant tidal wave of players running through.
I can respect Sprout trying to take the fight to Heroic.
Yeah.
But it's not often you see 4 people outside.
Definitely not. Definitely not. There's a lot of ways to play it. You know, anywhere from 1 to 2 or 3 people. 4 is very, very rare. Yeah, it can work. It's one way. Another way of solving this problem of maybe they feel uncomfortable with the early drop. But I think they need to do some stuff like either, have 2 on the ramp, have someone get dropped into vent, and, play outside light maybe, if they want to try that for once. Because Heroic really haven't done a ton of slow rounds wrapping to the back of heaven.
Look how close he is to the monitor.
I can't believe he's not more tanned, It's got the monitor.
Right?
Yeah. How close he is to the
monitor.
monitor.
He is extremely close to the monitor. That's tunnel vision right there. I haven't seen that for a while.
Yeah. That's a Xantares peak closeness.
Yeah, we've got some closeness here as well, up top in the middle. What do you think that sign says? Eat, sleep, guacamole. I think it says that.
Repeat.
Eat, sleep, guacamole.
Like if you designed a sign, that's what it would say. If you were a sign designer.
Heroic looking for their 6th round in a row. What is the score if Sprout don't win the pistol, I wonder?
Yeah, probably 8-0. Probably 8-0. Oh my god, that's a crazy drop flash right out of the smoke. Double entry upstairs, and yeah, this is, and then this is what conditioning is, that, as good as it's been for Heroic to go downstairs 5 rounds in a row, now if you get Sprout to worry about downstairs, then upstairs is suddenly going to be weaker, and you don't really have a choice. You have to respect that.
Yep.
So
that's one of the most powerful things you can have. It's your advantage is conditioning your opponent to fear one thing and then play against that fear.
That's really what momentum is. People try to say momentum. It's like, confidence, mentality. That kind of plays into it a bit, but it's really just about the fact that you don't have a choice. You've got to respect the fact that a team has won this many rounds in a row and they can get away with almost anything.
Yeah, it's setting expectations and then playing against them to your own advantage. This is merciless.
Indeed. No save guns.
Do you think that giving flowers to people is mean? Because you could interpret it as like
figuratively.
You could interpret it as, here, I want you to watch this thing die.
This is an incredibly existential question to bring up during a Counter-Strike match. I feel like people watch Counter-Strike to forget about this stuff, James.
Not when I'm commentating.
Not when you're commentating. No.
The grim reality of life is always upon us.
I think people would have saved a lot of flowers on Mother's Day if you had brought that up earlier,
Yeah, man.
We would have second-guessed that.
Get some sparkly cards, get the glitter bombs on the go.
Oof.
Well, there'll be more problems for Sprout as Heroic continue to change their approach. This time it's Cadian at Squeaky Door, but what's not changing is the favouring of the B bomb site and Spiddy being here alone and then soon being deleted. So Heroic are just getting into strong positions and just punishing Sprout. Earlier on, like in the very early rounds when it was really slow, they were punishing them for peeking and getting information. Now they're just punishing every attempted rotation. This is what I mean, man. I feel like I'm just watching flowers die round after round.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
Just watching them wilt.
They're
turn
sprout
brown.
Right.
They get thrown into the trash.
The John Deere's coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're sprouting up, but then the John Deere's coming through. The Danish John Deere, Heroic. I feel that. It's not getting any easier. And respect is earned, right? If a team is scrimmy against you, that's because they get away with it, you're just not good enough. You have to earn that back. If they're going to go for these, crazy, disrespectful, fast plays with, across the map, nobody in a position to trade, just ready to swing out on you, and you don't get those kills, it's your fault. You can't blame them for playing scrimmy. They've already given you some respect, played slow. Now they've earned the right to take the speed up a notch. So at this point, Sprout have to go back to ground zero and realize that Heroic are less and less scared of them. They understand how they want to play, and they feel like they can get away with a lot. Let's try to stop the aggressive rounds first, and then they can maybe think about fixing some of their old problems, which were, I think, downstairs. Or I imagine Heroic are probably going to go back to that at some point. But I mean, they can do no wrong. They've already just hit upstairs on a fast exec as well as ramp and outside.
Yeah, I think one of the largest problems here for Sprout is that Heroic seem to be at least 2 steps ahead of them. Like when it comes to mid-round, late round, they're just waiting for Sprout to walk into their crosshairs, essentially.
Yeah, the rotations are just, there's just no, they're just not good enough, not quick enough, and they're not willing to take the gambles, not willing to take the gambles at all.
Well, there's a lot of utility for Sprout in this one, but not too many rifles. We see the scout onto Slacks outside. There is an M4A4 as well. And a jumble sail by of pistols. Cadian?
Whoa, yeah. It was
maybe?
as if he was just like waiting, to hit the crazy shot. He's like, okay, just peek, I'll hit this flick.
It's nothing more frustrating than looking at the radar while you're sniping and then dying. Well, looks like it's a mix-up from Heroic. They've got all the strats and a tombola, and a different one has appeared.
What the fuck is a tombola?
So a tombola is like a wooden box which has a handle, and you can put items in it, like let's say balls, or like lottery balls or something. Spin them around. You spin the tombola around. It has a little door. You open a door, and you can select a winner of some description.
Like for bingo or lotto.
It's a very English, old school kind of crappy party item.
We do bingo in America.
Tombolas are super fun though. We could do a lot with a tombola, especially at Flashpoint.
Let's do it.
We could do a lot with a tombola.
Let's get some tombolas involved. Okay. What do Sprout? Okay, my opinion. I mean, I can't. It's hard to say what Heroic are going to do, and of course that's their power right now. But I would probably think about maybe slowing it down again to see if Sprout try to do something crazy, and then after that, go back to lower, since that was such a good place to end rounds for Heroic. And for Sprout, I'd probably just hope they don't rush upper this round and think about making sure I get some, at least being able to call when they might be lower, so that the rotations can be better. Because I think that's really where the big problem was. So it looks like they're going to try to exploit lower again potentially. Just with the way they're set up at ramp and outside, but some smokes go down, they reassess maybe. Is Cadian preparing some skylight flashes? Got one back, big garage, one ramp, 2 upstairs, back of the site. No one in front of Squeaky. You can tell Sprout are just shivering right now and very limited information. But this is a strong angle. Oh, man.
And it begins. 37 seconds on the clock in the 5 versus 4.
Oh, man.
Grenades deployed, but it's still
They
Edgy push. Look at all the control they're taking.
Oh god.
And the headshots as well.
They haven't even decided where they want to go yet. Oh my god.
Oh, the timing as well.
Oh, this is just... Oh my god.
Unnecessary, cruel, and unusual punishment at this point. 16 seconds to plant the bomb. Cressy wishes that bomb plant was on the other side. Well, hold on a second. He's in a 1 versus 2 all of a sudden. There is a flank coming, which should be very fruitful for Heroic. Never know about timing, though. Maybe he checks for it, looking for it in the wrong direction, and Refresh will put him out of his misery. Tell me about this round, Launders.
Oh, that was ruthless. I mean, I really feel for Sprout there, especially I think Dennis with the AUG. I mean, this is just so smart on so many levels. I mean, the fact that Shush is not getting tunnel visioned here and covering a position like that while his teammate watches something else, that's one thing. But then the fact that this turns into a heaven wrap, and then the jump peek, and then the slow upper take with 1 out Squeaky. Squeaky's not being watched at all, and they just walk out. Guess because Dennis is the one watching it from there. There's no way in. I mean, you got to win that first duel for sure, and then still there's so many ways for Heroic to win. Very, very scary right now, the way that round panned out. And that was a brand new look. It wasn't fast anymore. It wasn't towards lower.
Heroic showing great prowess across the map of Nuke. That was really enjoyable to watch.
Oh man, that was so satisfying.
Yeah, and purely from my perspective, because it was so different to every other round we've seen from them. It was mean.
It was mean, yeah.
Mean mugging. Well, there's maybe a consolation frag for Spiddy in this round, but let's see. They've got 4 players alive. Rounds have been won with less.
Cadian's deeked out right now. He's not even thinking about the fact that he has an op in the other hand. Everyone posted up on some powerful lines. Falvin actually sees the blinking bomb in the back of lobby. They haven't picked that up. They left that kind of out in the open. I think they blew up the door themselves as well. And yeah, 2 CTs are there watching it. Tessus, he's running into the lobby. They push in fast, and here's a chance to actually close it out. Cadian finally gets that deagle kill. 2-on-3 situation, and they're here to suss the bomb back out. He jumps past, and it's actually kind of a bait whether or not Cressy knows it. Now 1v2 with Refresh. Doesn't get the kill. It's Cressy to hold. They come through that lobby crunch. Kind of interesting. It's that one piece of information about seeing the bomb there.
Yeah.
Just attracted all the CTs to get really close to explode.
That's the second buy round they've won. Well, second round they've won.
Yeah, they didn't invest.
It wasn't even a buy round. Yeah, it's just one of those rounds which gives you a chance.
The irony of winning rounds like that, obviously, where you're not winning anything else, but suddenly the round where you have nothing, it works. And in my opinion, that happens more because, number one, the pressure's off a bit, but also because you're more willing to gamble.
Yeah.
On like a 3-man push like that.
More variance.
Yeah, it's not standard. Oh.
HE. First HE would have been quite nice.
Yeah.
Second one misses the mark, but does it?
He got spam. He got spam damage in. Fast downstairs. Look at the lower map. No rotations whatsoever. They're not calling timings here. Why is their outside guy not saying you guys need to be downstairs? Meanwhile, the T's are literally at the ramp from lower.
How many times have we seen that? Spiddy alone in B,
God,
just getting wrecked, essentially.
That's bad communication right there.
Yeah, he doesn't have the tools to hold the bomb site alone like that on the rafters versus the amount of players that Heroic always have down towards the B bomb site. But again, it's very easy for Heroic, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one's really surprising for me because some of the squeaky timings, they didn't know for sure. But here they knew for sure someone had gotten down. And maybe the only thing holding them back was not knowing how many people got down. So they don't want to say over-rotate, but yeah, clearly.
Yeah, their B's looking extremely vulnerable. And imagine anybody who plays Brass or Nuke will be looking to...
Yeah, go on B.
Yeah, they'll be looking for a similar approach. May not do it as strong as Heroic, though.
Look at the bravado on Refresh right now. He jump peeks this off. Is just free to do this, you know.
Smurfing. Oh, no.
What?
No.
Oh, my God. It's like that.
Alien special.
See, if we want to have some kind of insight into where, Heroic are at right now, mentally they're here.
I love this because it's psychological warfare.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's not the strongest buy in the world, it's psychological warfare.
Are they gonna... Oh no, they canceled. I mean, they might have to play a real round now. It's a little bit scary.
Oh, okay. The plan B is here. Respect. I know Caden, he loves the...
Sprout will never know about this.
He loves the P90s on Inferno as well. But that's a full 5-man P90 play. This one was just a 4.
Sprout will never know what was about to happen.
We need overtime now. Just to see. Oh, man.
Wow.
That was a tease. 1 minute on the clock. We've got Slacks in a very aggressive position towards T-Red. And oh, well, that's certainly a help. The bomb dropped as well. And again, this round is a help. Assuming it goes the way of Sprout now, which I think is reasonably likely. Refresh is still alive, though, so that's a problem. Dead now, of course. Well then, Storm in a 1 versus 4 made 3. With 37 seconds on the clock, elevating his position, expecting an angle to be held, and there we go. He's so smart.
Yeah, you could. Oh, he's got. Oh, the shadow's there. Dennis takes a nice off angle. 10-5 half.
Indeed, it is a very difficult half for Sprout, but they've got 5 rounds on the board, and that means there's a chance. There was a chance last game rather. It didn't go their way, but maybe it will on this occasion. We shall find out after the break.
Chance.
And we are back in black, back on the attack, as are Heroic. I'm sure they'll be attacking on the CT side. We saw a great pistol from Sprout to start off this map of Nuke, and I think they'll need both of them to really stand a chance here versus Heroic.
Yeah, I mean, the tail of the tape is that pistol round. The 2 anti-ecos actually converted, which was good, and then an eco and maybe 1 rifle round overall, but for the most part, Heroic, no sweat. 5 P90s in the last round, forfeited the rush, but it just goes to show, how confident they were feeling that this game was pretty much over, despite the scoreline being even closer than it was last time.
Slacks has been made a raid bossu. Drops a P250. See if it has any part to play in this round. Oh, refresh raid boss as well. Well then.
Well, things have gone crazy already. T's are coming back into Squeaky. Nature is healing. Just holding a nice deep off angle into lobby. He's holding like a little low, I feel like purposefully, but it doesn't feel like low enough for the crouch peek. I don't know.
Oh, it looks good.
Yeah. Oh my god. Wow. Nicely done from Dennis.
Yeah, that's what happens when you're
anything.
too close to the angle of contention. Is that your Brazilian butt lift's going to be sticking out. While you will see not much of anything.
For the broadcast, James said, "How does my butt look in these jeans?" I said, "I don't know." He said, "It's not a 10." I said, "If that's a 10, I've seen 15."
I'm so disappointed in you, Lons. I'm so disappointed. If there was more time before we threw to the game, I was going to stand up and demand ratings from the desk. It'll have to come later. What will happen now, though, is a push into B, and Refresh will have to dance around the B bomb site. Oh my god, they'll do more than that. The Julies will absolutely massacre. Talk to me, Launders.
I don't have nothing to say. That was amazing. I'm just here to watch. I just want to absorb it all. That's crazy. Amazing stuff. It's not something I would ever do. I can't pull it off. You give me 3 guns, I couldn't do that. So
Twitchy African fibers.
Okay, but you said that about Cadian too.
Yeah, he's got twitchy African fibers as well.
Okay.
TAF.
He's tapping right now.
Well then, both teams win their respective CT pistols, but can Heroic win the consecutive round? Very deep smoke to start off with. Tesses will spread the wealth of the MP9, but no one's there to receive it. With rifles, those walls into lobby from the ramp are very sprayable, very wallbangable. You can harass from there. Sprouter taking some time to chill. And Heroic will be patient.
Dupree was talking about open up the rafters again. He wanted the whole,
Bring it back.
Yeah, the entire thing open again.
Or inside and outside?
Just inside, I think.
Well, I guess outside was cool.
Well, outside
right?
outside was, oh my gosh. I don't think anyone liked outside.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Nuke has been, oh man. They've made some radical changes. Such a good map, though. Very good.
I love the aesthetic.
Yeah, the aesthetic's really good, too. Oh my god, what? That's so sweaty. In a great way, though. I applaud it. But the Glock double boost outside watching the big flank.
I don't know how I would feel about that if I was on the receiving end.
Yeah.
But in fairness, like if you're Heroic, they're playing so aggressively, you probably have respect, right?
Absolutely.
Gotta
And when are they going to do that next now, after seeing that?
give them the single golf clap for that one. 32 seconds. A bomb plant is required. But that gap, well, that may favor Refresh. Cressy looking for some pre-fire. This is a long, drawn-out round. It's like they're trying to dry themselves some biltong in this round. And Sprat will be the biltong, it seems. The beef jerk-off.
Wait, what, sorry? Wait, what's it built? First of all, what's it built on?
Biltong is South African dried beef.
Okay.
If you're going on like hiking or something, it's great protein.
Oh, it's like some kind of jerky.
Really nice.
Did you say beef jerk off, though?
I may have said that.
Okay.
Look, it's me.
Okay, so I'm smiling.
Frey is disgusted by biltong and such. Not a fan. But me,
I'll give it a shot.
I have a bag.
I'll try it.
A bag of the jerk off in my
Okay.
upstairs.
Wait. Interesting. Ooh. Some squeaky pressure. It's paramount. Even if you're not going to use it, you have to scare the CTs here. It's just you have to do it. If the CTs aren't scared around squeaky, you're not doing a good job on the T side. So we've got 3 players pressed up, ready to do something. But this is also, it seems to be more and more common. Just like chain re-smoking squeaky early round. And, potentially making it seem like you're taking outside control as a CT or you know something. But with no presence here from Sprout, I think they are a little bit nervous about this. There's another smoke left on Cadian. I don't know where he is at the moment. Sitting in... Okay, so they can't even re-smoke this. And it looks like the exec will just come. How will this go?
Hard executes, man. Into the bomb site they go. But where are the kills? There they are. Stereo frags for Sprout. But can they do more? Tesse's trying to make an effort, but he's only good for 1. Best opportunities have come and gone for Heroic as Sprout looked to mount a comeback on Nuke. One will be planted and Cadian will fish for something, but he's offered nothing.
I think that was the moment where sometimes you want to sit behind the smoke and be like, okay, just go after the smoke. Oh, they re-smoked? Okay, just go after the re-smoke. It's fine. But you get a little bit nervous. They might have pushed something. And I think for Heroic there, they thought, okay, we re-smoked this twice. If they're setting up for an exec, they'll probably think about doing something else because they're scared. they decide to go with the exec anyways, and Heroic haven't done anything special, actually. They've just waited with the 2 players upstairs. They're a little bit lower on utility, so, you know, full exec versus this bonus round, and it goes well. They get the entries. There's not too much resistance, and I think overall just, you know, a nice call from Sprout to call that out, just to be like, all right, I don't think they've actually done anything. Because last round they actually were, you know, they sat on the double boost waiting for Cadian's big flank push. Maybe they didn't think that was going to happen again. So they said, hey, let's actually go forward with this, and it ends up being the right call.
So Sprout has made it. They've got their first round on this half, and they are half the score of Heroic. So there is much work for them to do. But if they can keep the CT side poor, then maybe there's a chance for them to do it. We can see that Shush pulls out the auto shotgun. Tesses has a deagle only, which is still a very capable weapon in his hands, as we saw on the previous map.
This is the Hiko, right? The top hut auto shoddy. Very strong. I mean, it's a moneymaker too.
Indeed it is. Of course, its last updates, the spread was improved. Tighter spread now of the shotgun shells.
Oof. As if we needed that. This thing was already tearing ass.
Next to my Boxer keycap upstairs on my keyboard, I have a shotgun shell keycap. I actually gave Fur a shotgun shell keycap previously because of his antics with the auto shotty back in the day. Holding a ramp on Mirage with an auto shotgun, because why not? Those were the days.
Are they... It doesn't feel like they're doing the exact same thing. They've got one person throwing some similar grenades, but I feel like this one's going to end up at ramp for some reason. Maybe not. But they don't have 3 people inside the squeaky like they did. So let's see what happens this time around with 2 players pushed into hut.
Uh-oh. Well, that's a great start. The FAMAS has not been spotted just yet, and he's holding the back. The bomb drops into hut, and it is a massacre indeed. Sprout are on hooks in the abattoir. In they go one by one. 13 rounds for Heroic. Lots of upgrades to be had as well. 3 AK-47s taken into round number 20.
Yeah, nice pragmatic adjustment there. The hut is great because, you know, it's actually a house, right? There's no flashes that can pop over top of you when people are execing. People expect to get hut control for free when they're going out for the exec, so all the grenades are designed to blind and hurt spots on the site itself. So sitting inside of the hut sometimes right close to the exec is a great way to deal with it. Same with Mirage A ramp, like you were just talking about. Sometimes when the exec comes out, you just stand where the T's want to come out of, and they can't throw too many nades there because they need to be there as well. But we're already off into the next round. Slacks gets an opening off shot on the T side, pushing. And that's down. Refresh is still close by with a teammate, and they have every incentive in the world to go for another kill. But Speedy is the one to best him. And now Cadian will try to make do. Almost gets 2, but at this point it's 2v4, and another trade comes down. Looks like another strong round from Sprout.
Hold on a second. 1 versus 2, full health Tesses. Got 295 HP on the server among the 3 players. So
Take man Twix by force.
everybody healthy for now. Very impressively up the ladder there.
Oh, will he drop? Will he stay up? He's in a very strong spot for this, but they're looking for him, I think. Oh, maybe not. He sees both. Almost got that coveted Tessis spray.
Yeah, fakes the jump downstairs, and there's no fast rotation for Faven. He's in a spot of trouble, I think it's fair to say. Now, he would have heard that jump from Tessis, but I feel like...
Ooh, he made noise.
The real jump, you would have heard that kind of pain noise, whatever
Sure.
you like to call it, right? So you may realize that lies are being told. With 25 seconds on the clock, the plant begins, and Tessis makes his way down the vents. That has certainly been heard by Faven, but Tessis has moved so fast that Faven can't have fallen back too far. Oh, but he's going upstairs. The rafters are sprayable, but Tessis, there's no way he's doing that first. He's probably assuming the ramp. But, oh, he's found his head! The aim punch through the top, and Faven will finish off the job. 7 rounds for Sprout. That was a crucial round to win.
Absolutely. Very nicely played by Faven in the one-on-one situation. Even though it shouldn't come that close, he does a great job of making Tessis' life really miserable there with the lower plant. So nice stuff. The refrags are great outside from Sprout, as Heroic have 3 CTs there, so they should have actually an advantage at least for the opening kill because of how unlikely it might be to have that kind of setup. But Of course, they have that great T-side opping and awareness from all of them, and they put it together. Not so bad. Heroic's money is not fantastic. They actually afford to buy, but without almost any grenades whatsoever. This is actually very interesting. I don't know if they would do this versus most other teams. I guess because they can fortify behind the op, they have an excuse to buy. But that just has me wondering what's Cadian up to. They've got this ramp stack going on. They're overstaffed here and giving up outside. This was something that I was kind of hoping that Sprout would do once in a while. Take a kind of risk like this. We've got everyone going back outside to, I think, throw some cross smokes. But I don't think Heroic are in a position to rotate from where they are. So I'm not sure they're going to bite on this fake. Oh, and more kills are coming out in favor of Heroic in the middle of this default.
Yeah, the pain points are growing for Sprout. So quiet now. There's enough time to walk. But they'll need more than one kill when it comes down to it. Everybody for Heroic upstairs at present.
They're going to take over lobby from ramp now, and then Cadian can turn his attention to downstairs or just watch the big flank outside. Nice fluid rotation once again. They're going to hear a molly down lower as well.
Well, there's the pop from Storm, and that's the bomb spotted in the vent. So that's all the information they need before the bomb's even planted. How fast can they get downstairs? 2 players from the ramp, and I don't know if Crest is going to be able to plant this bomb. Indeed, he won't. Running out of time, running out of personnel, running out of position, just running out our Sprout.
I really wish that would have been around. They got 5v5 before we saw where the site was going to be, going to. But in the middle of that default, Heroic are just getting enough information. Ston got this kill outside on the outside of Mini, and look how fast his rotations are. So nice. And I love how they took over ramp. At about the 30-second mark, when there's no pressure from Sprout, they're like, all right, listen, we got 5 players. We have a double setup on ramp. No one's coming here. We have lobby hut control. We just killed one guy outside on the cross. We can definitely push in the lobby and get some info. And they do that to get that extra kill, and there's just no chance. Heroic they just push just enough. They get enough information. They're just quick enough to the jump to make sure that Sprout really have no room to make Heroic guess. They're always making very informed decisions.
Execute into the A-bomb site. So far, Heroic will prevail with bombs on the floor, and so are Sprout. Refresh with 3, shutting that hut down. Cool headshots from Heroic.
He's becoming one of the best upper rankers at the moment. There's been a lot of parity at the top with the upper rankers. RPK going out for Kyojin, and some very, very famous names that have played spots like these. But right now at the top, here's Refresh setting up lots of clips from these positions.
Telling you, man, we're going to be talking about him a lot.
Yeah.
But how much talking is there left for Sprout in match point for Heroic? And there are many match points for them. Pistols for Sprout. Shooting gallery perhaps for Cadian. Smoke's being deployed, and maybe the carnage outside will slow down somewhat. Not much damage done just yet, but it's just around the corner. We've got the rifle support for the AWP now. Cadian lands a very nice shot there, and they just want to finish this right now. Charging through, Tesses will go for the last one and land it. 16-7. That was a lopsided affair from Heroic. Sprout were simply outclassed in this series.
Yeah, it was one of those games where almost every kill felt like a headshot, really, for Heroic. There wasn't much room for Sprout to breathe. And I mean, more than that, Heroic were just a better team on both maps, I want to say. Strategically, they were there. Tactically, the mid-round rotations, everything was just a really smart move from Heroic, whereas I felt myself being much more critical about some of the moves and decisions that Sprout made. So I think they have a lot of work to do, and unfortunately, they just didn't have a really great veto to go anywhere specific.
I think one of the good things is that Sprouts are they played one of the teams who I think will give them the least breathing room, which means they'll get punished the most, which I think is just great in terms of demo watching and so on. Absolutely savaged by Heroic, and we can see that they have come into this in excellent form. And it's just a shame that we didn't get to see those P90s, but maybe that will be saved for another day. That's enough from us. Over to Freya on the desk.
any room to move in terms of the veto coming into this, and Heroic just went from strength to strength on Sprout's pick, then going on to their home ground of Nuke. What we expected, Lex?
Yeah, not really a whole lot of surprises in either map. And for Heroic, really took no time at all to exploit all the weaknesses on the CT side for Sprout, and from disjointed rotations to maybe lack of communication and maybe even confidence in their moves. This isn't exactly a map that I would consider strong for Sprout in any capacity whatsoever, and certainly this is Heroic's home map as described, so not entirely sold on the idea that, there's everything and nothing in this demo that you can go back and watch and improve on. But, despite that, I think James actually touched on it, where both of these maps do kind of allow Sprout to go back, check out what was going wrong, and perhaps even realize what Heroic was doing right. I mean, you experienced it firsthand, and maybe it'll pay off down the line.
And that's something that you were highlighting, Semler, coming into this, is, you read an interview with Sprout coming into this game, and it was saying just having the opportunity to be playing some of these teams of this caliber, it's a learning experience for them. We weren't expecting them to come in and blow Heroic out of the water.
No, it certainly wasn't. I mean, we were expecting Heroic to do the blowing up, really pyrotechnics and whatnot. Tessus, topping the scoreboard here for Heroic. But really the main thing here is that Heroic have that winning quality that you have in dominant teams, which is that when they get into the server, they know that they're the team that's going to win no matter what. And so even if the score gets close, or like Sprout are up to 14 or 15 rounds, I'm still just saying, well, the Heroic are just going to bring it back. Because they're going to have that invincible confidence going up against a team like Sprout's, like Sprout. And again, just to say, Heroic are not a team that underestimates any of their opponents. They always go into the match, they make it very clear in all the pre-match interviews and post-match interviews, and then they back those words up. They say, we take them seriously, we do our homework, we're not underestimating them, and we're going to smash them. And that's pretty much what happens.
Yeah, and we can see it exactly playing out in this first matchup, which means Heroic will be moving on in that upper bracket. And something that we were kind of hoping potentially, Lex, coming into this, seeing a little bit more of Dennis and Speedy as some of the more long-lasting names on the side of Sprout, but just didn't really have any room to move, and that is what we expect from Heroic.
Yeah, and even the star players for Sprout, I don't necessarily think had an opportunity to really shine here. I mean, obviously, if you're up against Heroic, it's really tough to kind of break out individually, especially when the teamwork elements are breaking down in such a way. But it really can't be understated by us here on the desk and anybody else who's at home watching that Sprout, nobody expected them to come in here and 2-0 Heroic by any means. And considering you're down in the lower bracket now, you got to work on the next matchup, start focusing on refining that map pool a little bit and kind of round yourselves out.
Yeah, and it is a good point. It is double elimination here at Flashpoint 3, so there will still be another chance for Sprout to be getting back into this. But we've got to break down some of these maps a little bit more, and I believe you have a particular round that you want to be talking about, Lex, round number 4. What are we going to be seeing here? Yeah,
I think this is kind of when the actual moment happened, when you could really see Heroic just exploiting some of the weaknesses in Sprout's defense, where, the standard Molotov towards vents, you expect, okay, maybe one player gets down, but I think Launders described it as a clown car through Squeaky down into lower, and there's 5 players alive from Sprout, or excuse me, from Heroic and Sprout for that matter. But when this bomb gets planted at lower and there's no rotations, it's all disjointed, and if you're Sprout in this scenario, I can't imagine the mentality where everything is just broken down and there's no protocol, there's no plan for this retake, and you just see Tessus just stalking his prey back here towards ramp.
Yeah, and I think that's something that was a struggle. We were seeing from Sprout throughout this entire map. Sure, had a good start getting those 3 rounds initially, but it just seemed like they didn't really have any room to move. Do you feel like we saw similar issues as we saw on Vertigo for these guys, Sumler?
Well, yes, and a lot of it just does boil down to firepower as well. And it's a point that we were making going into this match, how I was kind of hoping that we would see an increase in performance from Dennis and Spitty going into this. Yes, they're old hands. Yes, they have a lot of experience, but they also need to be able to click heads. And some of the ridiculous peaks that Heroic just get away with because they're bold and they know that they have better aim. I mean, the number of times you see Refresh come around a corner and rip somebody's head off, it's actually bordering on the ridiculous. And so I think there's not only the experience angle here, but we did also see just kind of like the raw firepower angle, and Heroic just outgunned Sprout.
Yeah, we do have another round to be breaking down, guys. Round number 19, I believe you were highlighting here, Lex. So what are we seeing?
Auto shotty round?
Oh, buddy.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about
$900.
How quickly Shush makes his money back with this auto shotty investment. There's 900, about to count 1,800 more. And
It's so silly.
I mean, look at this. This is a decent attempt at an upper execute, but they don't even make it out of hut. And these players that are coming out of Squeaky are just getting dominated by the aim of Desses. It's a rough spot to be in.
I mean, that reminds me of JW of old, right? You know, just farming money in the hut. Shotguns, I think, what was it, Maui was telling me that Get Right used to do it too. I remember JW, I used to call him the Bank of Sweden because he'd literally just sit there and just make money with shotguns. And I guess that's the new meta now, or at least it's just, you know, it's like fashion. It just goes in circles. It all eventually comes back. Bell bottoms, I'm seeing chicks wear those guys now. You know, it's like 40 years later, and there you go. That's what happens.
I wish we got to see some P90 rounds as well from Heroic. I feel like that's what they do when it's true BM on the final round.
But they
Definitely
don't
a P90.
PM so much.
No, and I think that's the thing
You know,
about Heroic.
they-
You know, it's a respect for the opponents, and that's what we were kind of talking about.
I think it's just because they've got things to do. You know, they're like, hey, we're the #1 team. We got to go and like study Gambit here, actually. So you know what? We're just gonna smash you guys, and then we're gonna get back to work.
Well, they do have another thing to do, because we have got Cadian online for an interview after that win. Thank you so much for joining us, man. Congratulations on that, first of all. I do want to ask about Shush, because we saw him going lights out throughout this series, and we typically look at him as more of a supportive player. So I kind of want to ask you how you've been integrating him into the team, and why he was, you know, enabled to be so dominant on these two maps.
Yeah, well, Shush joined the roster and he was like, do I just need to chill out and be a like KD1 player or what? And I said, no, bro, be a fucking beast. And that's what he is. He's owning people. He's playing amazing. I'm not sure in terms of like the slotting him in kind of thing, because he plays a lot of his roles and he plays them very well. And yeah, he's definitely putting up great numbers. So yeah, good times.
Any questions from you guys for Cadian?
I guess it would be, Katie, and you guys are a pretty dominant nuke team. And we saw a few different looks on T side, at least, of you guys getting down to the vents. Is that something that maybe you looked at when you're playing against Sprout, weaknesses in their defense, something that you could exploit throughout? Because it was almost comical to watch at times, having most of the team going down the vent.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if we exploited their weaknesses. I think that was the entire map. Not to be rude, but we definitely just did our thing, which we have a lot of success with on Nuke, pressuring different parts of the map at the same time. And oftentimes the opponents are left with the choice of either like fighting something really hard, which doesn't feel comfortable, or giving us the space. And you could see the rounds. We got the outside control, secret, under heaven. We pushed them away ramp. We played out squeaky rounds, like you said, down the vents. Yeah, so we played a really good nuke game. We saw that their protection for the vent drop was not super strong. So even though it's not something we do that much, we could see in the preparation that we could definitely win a round or two. And I guess that round 3 we won, or round 4, or whatever it was, definitely kickstarted the momentum.
Right on.
Yeah, solid. Cadian, good to see you, dude. Actually, I want to ask you real quick. You had a tweet earlier about the player break. What are your thoughts on that? Do you want to speak real quick on the stream about that cover a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great opportunity, honestly. Thank you,
Yeah.
Simla. I mean, I guess in a way, it's the player's responsibility, and I guess it's a bit harsh to say, but maybe I don't feel like that the current union, CSPPA or whatever, is like doing their job good enough, because we see all the players complaining year after year, and I know it's a difficult task and it's difficult to make moves with ESL, Blast, Flashpoint, and so on. But I think 2 weeks summer break, I might be feeling a little too comfortable. But I feel like that's not enough. I mean, it's a tournament break, but it's not a practice break. And obviously, when a thing like ESL Pro League starts, you don't want to show up without preparation. So you'll have to have 2 weeks of practice going into that. And yes, you can skip events. You can, and we already are, and other teams are as well. But if you want to be #1 in the world, which is personally my goal, I want to be the mother effing best at what I do. You need to participate in as many tournaments as possible, at least the big ones, to gain the point, because otherwise the opponents are gaining points on you. And I think that's a major problem. So you have to look at how the rankings work. And also, I think just from the viewer perspective, seeing the same teams match up week after week is not healthy. Like you see it in other sports as well, the Champions League in football as well. The big games is when Real Madrid meets United once or twice a year. You know, I'm not saying it should be saturated to that amount, because obviously we want more than that. But I think seeing the same matchups too often is also not good for Counter-Strike. And I think there's a lot of things we can do. I'm not saying that we as players are perfect at all, but I'm definitely ready to enter a dialogue with people to see how we can improve the scene for everyone.
I hope that happens, man. I mean, it's been a long time coming. Long discussion. It feels like it comes up every year. So I hope that you guys can make some progress on that front. Real quick, G2 or FaZe, who do you want to play in the next round?
Oh, that's a tough question.
Yeah, it's a good one, huh?
It is, Simona. I mean, I think G2 has been on the rise lately. They've found some more steady ground with Jax, but also I feel like FaZe hasn't unlocked their true potential yet. So in a way, it's a really political answer, but I think it depends on what kind of form they show up on the day. But it's been a while since I played G2, and we had really tight games in the beginning of the COVID online era. So yeah, maybe let's meet my boys Nexa and Hunter again.
Well, it'll be very exciting to see if that does play out, Katie. And thank you so much for your time. Huge congratulations on that win again. Can't wait to see who you will be facing in the next round of competition, man.
Thank you, Freya. Thank you.
Always great to get to catch up with Katie. And he brings up a good point, because I think this next matchup, I'm so excited for this. We've seen these teams duking it out a lot recently, but there's still question marks in terms of both of their form coming into this.
Oh, yeah. And I get to cast it, too. So I'm just like, ooh, who are we getting? I mean, has it been long enough for FaZe? Have they ironed enough? I mean,
They've had a couple weeks now, right? So I think this could be the most competitive matchup that we've had so far.
I think this is definitely going to be a banger.
Maybe, right?
Yeah. This is going to be a banger.
It's definitely going to be a banger. Something else that's going to be a banger is our limericks. National Limerick Day. For anybody who has missed out, the most important part of this day. I did my limerick earlier, and you guys, you've queued this one up. So, Lex, I'm going to give you the opportunity to go first. We made this one up in the makeup room.
Okay.
Take your stage.
There once was 5 players from France. Wait. You go first.
You see, I wrote mine down. I saw this coming. I knew that I would forget mine.
Why did I go first?
Sorry, I did you dirty, man. I did you dirty.
Wanders, this is a limerick, I think. Well, we'll see, But, so, we have this team called Double Pony. Some perhaps thought they were phony. Then the B got smashed, put back in the trash, as the DP has too much, honey. Huh? Yeah. Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. Much appreciated.
that was very good.
See, that's that.
That's how you do a limerick.
There's layers
guys.
on layers there, guys. There's layers on layers. I'll let you guys figure it out.
And mine would go something along the lines of this. There were once 5 French players who determined they needed new slayers. They cut the tank, but had him to thank, and now they only have prayers.
Good
Excellent stuff. Excellent stuff, Lex.
Solid.
I love how
Good editing. Okay.
Now it makes sense with Double Pony in it. Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
See, that's the thing, man. You've got balls because, I wouldn't